Hello, everyone. This is the first episode of The Art of Conversation, where we try to have a conversation and try to be positive and hopefully learn something. Well, the first episode is going to be with my beautiful oldest daughter, Alexandria Shanae
Shanae.
Griffin.
Hey everybody.
Well, this is our first. Well, this is really our second time doing. We've done something before, but we're going to talk about a kind of touchy subject. We're going to talk about family trauma, and a little bit about me. I've been a firefighter for a long time now. I'm the father of 6 beautiful babies, 3 girls, 3 boys. Uh, it's been kind of touchy here or there. You know, I've been divorced twice. Uh, and that has given certain challenges. And I remember a couple days ago, my daughter talked about trauma in the family. As a parent, you don't like hearing that word trauma with your children. But what I've discovered, you kind of have to listen to them. You listen to your children, and you try to learn for your children. And hopefully, this conversation, what we're gonna have, will open up you to talk to your children, and hopefully your children to talk to you, so you could be uh, everything could go better. Because I think sometimes as a parent, we so busy working and all this other things, we kind of forget certain things. And Drea is 22,
Mm-hmm.
so she's an older woman now. She's running around, kind of talking about her back hurt and all this other stuff now. And
We do.
but it's cool as a parent of having grown children. First of all, they have their own place, and I could go to their house and steal stuff and leave, especially food. I like going through their refrigerator and everything. So to me, that's funny. Uh, but we I think we need to have the conversation because she was talking to another more of an older person in our family about trauma, and I think she kind of got offended.
Grandma?
You think she got offended?
Oh, this person?
Yeah.
Mm, I think that she saw it more from somebody else's perspective. That's not just her.
What perspective do you think she saw it from?
Somebody else. That's not just her. I can't really describe how she probably would have felt, but it's like I guess she. I don't know how to describe.
Okay. Well, I think in our community we have a hard time talking. And I know in our black community before, I know therapy was like something you really didn't talk about or
Mm-hmm.
this, that, and the third. And I think it's important that we start talking about these things so we can move on. I found therapy to be very, it challenges you to look at your feelings and look at yourself in different ways. And I think it's been positive. Uh, and I think family trauma has been happened, especially to you guys, because I think the divorce really hurt you guys in ways that, especially me as a man, you always try to move forward. You always try to move forward. You always try to a certain degree, you just think, okay, I'm earning this money, so y'all should be good. But you know, cause y'all, how old were you when the first divorce happened? When I divorced your mother?
Mm, I was in pre-K, so about 4
4?
or 5.
Yeah, cause then we, uh,
It was finalized by the time I was 6.
yeah, cause Jaden is, you 6 years older than Jaden.
Mm-hmm.
Cause Alex 7 years older than Jaden. That's when it was finalized. So how was that for you, as being
Going through a divorce.
yeah,
Going through a divorce, I can remember thinking as like a 4-year-old, I didn't remember because it's so easy. The ignorance is bliss. So when y'all were fighting and going to 2 different places every day, I don't think I really noticed or cared because I remember every time going to your house, my dad's house, it was, oh, when we go to your house, we're going to get some ice cream or we're going to go to Quick Trip. So I'm looking like, So that make it a little easier, but I'm not really noticing until I'm older, looking back like, oh, you took me to get ice cream so you and my mom could argue type thing. That may not be the case like all the time, but like y'all go out, take us places and meet up so that y'all can argue and so that we can be distracted as a 6, 4, 5, and 4-year old type thing.
And that's interesting because I don't really, because we went to Quick Trip a lot of times we was leaving.
Like leaving from your house, so
Yeah.
it kind of made the transition more easier. But like a lot of times, I feel like you would take us to Quick Trip, get snacks, and then you would come back and you and my mom would be having like real serious adult conversation. But we wouldn't notice the arguing or the bickering and stuff because we have our snacks and stuff and we're distracted by whatever you brought us on the way back.
And that's why I think this is good to have conversations because conversations is, because the perception of what my motivation was and your motive and what you see is so different because all this is kind of just new to hear because a lot of times when I took you back I didn't really talk to your mother. I just kind of dropped you off. Now sometimes she wasn't there, so we sat in the car for a long time.
Mm-hmm, I remember that too.
Yeah, we sat in the car for a long time. But
outside on the porch.
yeah, but I didn't really. I was never really talked to your mom. But you probably remember maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part,
Or like how you went through a whole divorce and we didn't notice.
yeah.
We didn't notice like you went through a divorce. I have a little brother. Now really we stay in 2 separate places.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't smoothed over, I don't think. But like I don't remember none of it. I remember staying at your mom's house. I remember going from the old house,
Yeah.
staying at your mom's house, staying at my mom's house, staying at Auntie Bug's house, staying at Minister Rankin house. Now we're in the Pink house and you're in Gwinnett
Yeah.
or Marietta, wherever you were at that time.
Yeah, Marietta then.
All of that's kind of like blurred together.
Yeah.
And like, so when did the divorce happen type thing? I just know based off the stories and my older self connecting the pieces of the little bit that I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Because for the first separated, because I had y'all for almost a year when we lived in the duplex.
Mm-hmm.
When y'all got it for doing the sword of the spirit thing y'all did.
We believe in God. We love God.
So yeah, the duplex was, to me, I think was a good. It was a lot because me and young Rod lived together and
You mean, I don't remember y'all living together when Frodo had the 9 fingers.
yeah, that was there, the duplex.
But I remember when you had Jimmy. Those are 2 different houses.
That's the duplex.
No,
We had
because
Jimmy at the
remember it was an
duplex.
apartment, and the little girl was like, "I'm warning you." You don't remember that?
And that was the duplex because we had the neighbor next door had a little girl.
Had some Hispanics.
Yeah,
No, those are 2 different houses.
no, that's a duplex, mama.
Where
Good.
Marietta?
Huh?
Marietta?
Yeah.
And the duplex is the same place?
No, the duplex was in Gwinnett County,
Okay, I'm thinking of Marietta.
but we also lived in College Park for a little while, and you weren't there a lot for that one. But we lived in there that's when I had y'all for that about almost a year, where we lived in Gwinnett County. It was close to it was around my fire station at the time, so it wasn't that far from my job.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's where we were for a while, and I remember those times because then I had to take it to mom because y'all was going to Kettle Lake Elementary,
Mm-hmm.
and when I had to work, they took y'all and picked you up and everything like that, and you know, and I think the hardest thing for me was with this whole thing was I wasn't a child of divorce, so this whole divorce thing, I was the first in my immediate family to get a divorce. My grandparents weren't divorced. My parents, of course, weren't divorced. So I had a very privileged childhood. So for you, what do you think the trauma came from? or what trauma do you think? What trauma do you think you had to deal with, and how you think it affects you now as a adult, as a young adult trying to figure it out now?
Mm, so the things that scarred me, which I'm assuming is trauma, is maybe like on my mom's end, how we grew up. You know, her being a single mother and stuff. So I'm used to moving around a lot. And it's weird that I've only stayed in the house my entire life, no more than 3 years.
Mm.
So but like I have roots in Lithonia, of course.
Yeah.
But like within Lithonia, the 22 years I've been living, I've never stayed in a place for no more than 3 years. So that's kind of like, okay, I'm always kind of looking for the next place or the next house or the next school. So I guess when I got to high school and graduated from Parkview after going there for like 2 or 3 years, I cried.
Did you?
I cried. Yes, I cried when we couldn't move after the first year.
That's right.
I was like, but like more trauma, more is like now that I'm older and we're talking more, me and you. But I guess when we would be stuck someplace and we feel like we got stood up, I remember crying, and me and Zana were like, my sister,
Yeah.
3 out of 6. We were like, well, I guess when we get older and we get stood up by our boyfriends, we'll be used to it by then. Or when we couldn't go out, certain places with you, and that we wanted you to go to, maybe you were too busy, or you know, however the logistics were working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, oh well, by the time we get older and get boyfriends, like we'll be used to being left behind. Like we'll be used to it.
And that's a conversation y'all had?
Yeah.
Wow.
We were sitting outside on the. I don't know if you remember. I remember this day vividly though. I don't know if you were too busy but you couldn't come get us. And my mom was doing something at the church, and we were waiting for you. You didn't come, so we kind of we couldn't go in and tell my mom at the time because she was busy. But I guess she thought that you were supposed to you remember? I don't know if you remember. You're supposed to get us from Berean.
To me, and it's so interesting because I don't remember ever. If I was supposed to get you guys, I came and got y'all.
I remember that you were supposed to come get us because y'all were. This was one of the times y'all fought in front of my mom. Let us hear the conversation of y'all fighting on the phone, and I don't know what y'all were talking about because I guess our feelings were just too hurt. Like, because I think this is the second time that we can remember that it happened.
Yeah.
Our feelings were just too hurt, like, to listen, but y'all were going back and forth on the phone. And then we just went home and went to bed. And I guess, but this is when it comes to being a kid, because next day we just totally forgot. Because, like, my mom has to make up for the fact that you didn't come type thing. So she has to find out, what can she do? Because no mom wants to hear their kids crying about how their dad didn't come. No person wants to hear that. So, like, I'm sure it probably broke her heart that you didn't come because of how it broke our heart type thing. So that's one of the things, like, I always expect, even though it happened so long ago, but I always expect people not to show up for me. Like, that's always the expectation.
Because, again, from where I'm coming from, whatever I supposed to have come got you. Now, I don't know what was communicated. Because every time I was supposed to come get y'all, I pretty tried to stay consistent with going to get you guys. But again, that's y'all perception. And I guess that's what it was to a certain degree. But if I didn't come get you, I was working. Now stuff might have changed with that because I worked a lot of overtime. And I worked a lot of stuff. I don't know how that was communicated or whatever, but that's why it's important that it's crazy how divorce and when two parents can't get together, how devastating it is because, your intentions and what happens, your intentions, reality, and your perception is 3 different things sometimes. And the goal is to try to get everything on track. And when you're so busy, like, I don't really remember arguing with your mother that much. But I know it happened. And it sucks that you guys feel that way, but it's important for men to be there as much as for their daughters. Because I know I couldn't make the father daughter dance. I know my brother had to be there for one of them.
Yeah, that was my 5th grade year.
Yeah, the 5th grade year.
But do you know why I asked him?
Why?
Because I was like, this is the closest thing that I could get to my dad.
Yeah.
That's why. And I remember. But me and Uncle Shrey had a good time. He
Yeah.
still don't have the pictures, though. I need to get him the pictures.
Yeah, and that's because I've always worked hard. Because with I know y'all don't want to hear that because it kind of comes with the territory, and as a dude, you just look over it sometimes. Because I had to work a lot.
Yeah, but probably you as an adult was like, oh, the father-daughter dance. You know, that's a small thing to miss out on, but. Like, you know, adults do that to kids all the time. Oh, it's a small thing I can miss. But you don't know that this was important to them.
I know it's important. But especially back then, because you got to eat. You know.
Yeah,
and
so
I know
you're
that,
probably thinking father-daughter dance, work, they'll be fine in the long run.
Yeah.
Missing the father-daughter dance if they can, you know, if I can work and, you know, also pay my child support, of course. But it was something that was important because we had so many father-daughter dances and they all fall around the same kind of year.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to think me and Zana are looking like, I think first father-daughter dance, second and first grade, up into 5th. So that's 3 years for me, 4 years for Zana.
Yeah.
And not neither one of them. So you have to think like, of course, this is what, from our perspective as your daughters. And then, of course, you're looking at it from a grown man point of view, which is 2 completely different points of views.
Yeah, and like I say, it's tough. That's why I think this conversation is important. And of course, I was able to make one of my 3rd daughter's father-daughter dance. How old were y'all when that happened?
I want to say Kylie was in Girl Scouts. And she was only in Girl Scouts for a hot second.
Yeah.
So whatever year that was.
Yeah, it was a Girl Scout thing. Yeah.
Whatever year that was, it was that year.
Okay. I forgot. Maybe she was 6. Maybe. I don't remember.
I don't even know.
I don't remember.
But
how did y'all make that
6.
feel? Because I think you would have been 12 or 13.
Kylie's born in 2007. I'm 8 years older than her. 8 plus 6.
Oh, you're 8 years
Yeah,
old.
I was in middle school. But still, I'm still thinking, like, even to this day, like I said earlier, I still expect people not to show up for me. Even from things that happened with my mom and everything. I still expect people not to show up for me. So, by the time I was in middle school, now I'm salty. Like, of course I know it's not nothing that she did. Or it's not nothing that was meant to poke fun at me and Zana. But still seeing that was kind of like, excuse me? But we never got a father-daughter dance type thing. And that's what happens when you have step siblings or half siblings. That's what happened. He can show up for one, but can't show up for all of them or the other ones.
Yeah.
Because you live with Kylie. And that was something when I got older, or as we got older, we saw, like, of course, some things you may not be able to show up for us because you don't live with us.
Yeah.
We stay on a whole different side of town. So it may be easier to do some things with them that's not as easy for you to do with us. You live with, like, y'all, like, them, Kylie, Jaden, and their mom. You actually stay with them. And you don't have to go through that process of getting us that you may have to go through with my mom. And that's kind of how I saw when I was in, like, high school. I guess I stopped caring at that point.
Yeah, we had some interesting battles. Yeah, it was some interesting stuff going on. And that's from both sides. Because, I don't try to demonize anybody because we all got a role to play in that situation. And I think the older you get, the more you kind of realize that everybody plays a role in certain things. And again, perspective of things. So how was it when the transition came with Jaden and Kylie, having steps, having now, it was first Alex, you, and Xana, and now the transition came with having now Jaden and then Kylie. How did it make y'all feel? How did you feel having these two new siblings that kind of come from a different situation?
I don't know. I guess because I was like 6, like me, Alex, and Zana, we love Jaden. I just remember because we was like, oh, we got a little brother and he's a baby and da da da. You know, little kids love kids. But like I said, it was such a blur. Like I don't even remember Miss Lauren being pregnant. I remember her having a baby shower and then
Yeah, you was
Jaden.
there for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but we know it was a baby shower for a hot second. And I was like, we never felt no kind of like animosity towards Jaden and Kylie for being your other kids, I guess you could say, from our point of view. But like we loved them and we like going over there to play with them and stuff like that. But it wasn't until later down the line. We never not liked Jaden and Kylie, of course. But it was later down the line where it was like, okay, doing this with them and da da da. Yeah, no. So it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but we never felt no kind of way toward Jaden and Kylie, or for you for even having Jaden and Kylie.
Yeah, because from a father's, and I think sometimes, I think your mother was always good with Jane and Kylie. Yeah,
and I think it was that too.
Yeah, because she never, because she's always been, she's part of a big family, and they've always been very accepting towards children in general. You know, I think she was always good because if she see him now, she's always smiling and, you know, fussing over Jaden and whatever. So she always did a good job with that.
And I think she had the way kids feed off of their mom.
Yeah.
And I think the way that she handled the situation, and she gave us room to make our own opinions for the most part. So, but the way she handled Jaden and Kylie and the whole thing in front of us made it easier for the whole thing to, like, I guess that's how we was able to smooth it over, because whatever she was feeling, we couldn't tell. Yeah. Because of how she presented herself in front of the first three, Alex and Zana. So I think that's what kind of made it more of a blur, because, like, I never seen my mom cry. I never seen her get mad at you. I never seen, like, remember we lived in Minister Rankin house, and it was on her birthday, and you came and bought us some ice cream off the ice cream truck. Yeah. But parents don't do that if they're fighting, so you can't be getting divorced.
Yeah, because a lot of times we was okay, you know, because it was just, we only fought, and I gotta give you this, because I've only seen my parents fight one time, and then one time I remember it was over pizza. Mom was making us pizza. Dad was like, "Why y'all doing that pizza? Stop!" They just ate, and she got upset and cried. I remember that to this day. I remember going out to the yard. Yeah, Dad made Mama cry. I'm gonna do this. I can't do nothing, Dad. I was maybe 5th grade. Not in 5th grade, maybe 3rd grade. It's like, what I'm gonna do that big dude? But I remember that anger, and you know, I know this the privilege. I've only seen my parents fight once, and I remember it to this day. They never. I know they fought, but it was never in front of me. Right. That's the first time I've seen an action from Dad make Mom upset. I've never seen that before. So I could just imagine with you guys, even if we fought 10 times, that's 10 times I've never, from my point of view, know of. And I just can't imagine how it is for you guys to see that. Because I try not to raise my voice too much. Because it's like, if I'm to that point, that means there's a lot of stuff that happened to build up to that point. It's like, but what the heck, you know, I'm trying to do this and this, that, and the other, and she probably feels the same way. And that's why I try to kind of keep it where, because like I said, I remember that time we went to get ice cream or whatever, and it's just so interesting to hear from you guys, well, it can't be a divorce then, you know, so that's... Yeah,
as a 5-year-old, I mean, when it is a divorce, but like, obviously we stay with Minister Rankin. Yeah. And we go to your house. Of course, we're not thinking too hard about it, because when adults are mad at each other, they don't come to their house and buy the kids ice cream from ice cream truck. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, from a point of a 5-year-old, but we tried, you know. That's the only thing we could do is try. So when it came to Jaden and Kyla, what was the most? I guess, and I know it's hard for you going to school, because that's always kind of hard.
I liked it.
You like the transition?
Yeah, I think I like the fact that I wasn't. I mean, I don't have to get tied down to anything like how a lot of people like Jaden. Jaden does football, and I think when I was in middle school, I was kind of mad, like, no, I can't be on dance team, so I'm not gonna even try. But I like not being not. I hated school, first of all. I like not seeing these kids again next year.
Yeah.
And then again next year, and then again next year. So I kind of liked. I eventually grew into like one of those kids, a loner in school.
Yeah.
I keep my 2 or 3 friends, but I don't care about you guys because I'm not gonna be here next year. Like, I ain't coming back.
You didn't have to be. You didn't have to invest.
Right.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, I got 2 friends, and that's fine. But I really pay a phone bill to talk to my friends sometimes.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. So, by the growing up in a house of a single mother, and I know that's a lot in America today. How that is always that people grow up with single parents and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What was your perception of just that situation as a single mother, especially you being a young lady? What do you feel about that? 'Cause I know you just as a young lady, you see stuff different than I would.
When growing up with my mom being single,
Yeah.
and how it affects my life today, or just like how I saw.
Just both.
Well, it affects my life today because, like, you know, when people think about like their future and having kids and stuff, when I think about my future and having kids, it's not a man there. Like, I'm just thinking, like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, there's no man in my thoughts of my future. But, like, I know I probably one day want to get married and have kids maybe. But, like, when I'm thinking about my kids, there's no dad there. So it's kind of weird. But with my mom, she did a good job. I'm not going to lie. With being a single mom, because of course we had the struggles, but like when I said, we were so young when it happened, and she really made the struggle fun for us as kids, because of course she couldn't afford the super soakers and all that, and all the water guns and all the toys that we had. But it was like, my mom comes from a big family, like you said before, so she was able to invent ways. Like, okay, one year she had sponges, and she took the cooler, filled it up with water. We got some sponges from the dollar store and a squirt, like, cleaning bottle.
Yeah.
And she was like, look, these water guns and these water bombs, have fun.
Yeah.
And we did. And that was like the funnest time of my life. And her, for that, I can say, like, she did.
Yeah.
Good. And she really, well, we had Mr. Kelvin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was never a father figure to me. But he did kind of make sure that we still have fun as well. Like, he did help out a lot. And for that, I can say I'm thankful for my mom doing, like, putting in the work.
Yeah.
And we could tell that she was stringed out some days. Like, we could just tell.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough situation being a single mom. I just can't imagine. Especially if, because when we're angry with each other, the communication just not there. So there's certain things that may be going on that I won't know till it's bad, because the communication just wasn't quite there, and that's on both ends. So hopefully, like 20 years from now, when you get married or whatever, and have children. And that's why it's so important to kind of I think for me, I come from a very strict household.
Mm-hmm.
I was 20. I think I married 24. We was before our wedding day. We still had a curfew. And I think that's the most craziest thing looking back now. Uh, Ever, and I think we both come from strict households, and I
Houses
think
of the Lord.
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with house. It's just when it's used to control, and I think we kind of got together to escape that control, and we just wasn't quite ready. My ideal of family was different than hers to a degree, and I think that's the biggest thing where I want you to, because when you've only had one friend that I've ever known really, and I've never tried. I don't try to be overbearing because you got to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be like, well, you need to this, you need to that. I want you to figure it out. It's important that you figure it out. If you have any questions, I try to make myself available for you to talk to. But I want you guys, cause I know I hear y'all sometimes, well, I ain't having no more children, and that's always your choice. And I don't want you to go through what me and mom been through. It kills a generation.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely kills a generation. I was showing my dad, your granddad. My dad died of COVID almost a year ago, March 31st,
Mm-hmm.
and I put the video together
Mm-hmm.
to celebrate his life, and I was showing even Jaden and Kylie. They were just so surprised of all the stuff we did because we had two parents on the same page. We was able to go on vacations every year.
Mm-hmm.
We was never able to do that, and that's something what I regret as a father because you always want to give your children what you had, at least what you had, and more because I had everything. Every Christmas we had something. There was some Christmas I couldn't get you guys nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just the facts. Because, especially back then when I first started, because we got divorced during there, my first 3 years in the fire department. So I was making nothing because I started in '01. Late '01. And then then I had to go through a Chapter 7. I had to go in bankruptcy pretty early. And I did the bankruptcy where I paid it back. So not only was I paying child support, but I was paying that too to get everything right. So it was extremely tight for me. And I had to work a lot of overtime to try to make that up. And a lot of overtime, work second jobs and stuff like that. And I think that's the thing about divorce and stuff like that. You get so tied up with trying to make just a living, just to make it, just like your mom, just like I had. But getting back on topic as far as with you guys, I want you guys to meet someone. And even with Alex, and Alex always quiet. Alex is my oldest child, and he's the oldest boy, and he's so quiet. You don't know how it affects him. Mm-mm. And so I'm always kind of watching and again try to make myself available to have him talk to me and because of course he have this friend that he's hiding from me. I'm trying to meet her. He's being slick. I'm gonna have to do a stakeout. I'm gonna have to do a stakeout one day. Sleep in a car across the street.
That's just how Alex is. Especially now that he's 23 now.
Yeah.
I guess he just want to be his own person, be his own, and just do what he want to do without nobody asking questions. Because even if me as his sister that live with him, ask him where he going, I get like the little ice cube face with the lip up, like, why you asking me? What he tell me yesterday, you are mama, bro. You are mama. I'm looking like, I just care. I just want to wish you safe. Be safe when you go out. He was like, every day. Every day. Yeah.
It's almost like that Kevin Hart skit. You know the Kevin Hart skit? Mm-hmm. How a woman say when they going out, they tell everything they doing or whatever. But when a dude go out, they're like, hey, I'm going out. Where you going? when the women ask all the
Yeah.
questions, and we're just kind of general. You know,
Yeah.
we are more specific. You know, who, what, when, where, how. That's why I always pick at who, what, when, where, how, why, and how come, where at, when you coming back. How do you think it affected
Share your
Alex?
location with me.
Huh?
I said share your location with me.
Yeah.
Well, the divorce
Yeah.
or like everything in general.
Yeah.
Alex, I don't know, cause Alex be playing so much sometimes. Like Alex is sarcastic, but like he won't let you know that he just playing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like in Zona too, and it's hard to speak from their point of view because right now I've been going through this little phase where I'm just thinking more of like, does the world even exist when I'm not there type thing. So it's hard, but I know Zona.
It exists, but from your perspective,
Right.
it's all about, it's funny, and I'll let's get back to it, but I was thinking about, people say, in the stories, whatever, I'm going to destroy the universe. Well, you can't really destroy the universe. You could destroy that
Your
person's
world.
perception of the
Mhm.
universe, and that's what it's all about, your perspective. What would you say about Xana?
I said Zona, for the most part, I can say that she may, for the most part, feel like me. She may feel like me, like how all the things that I'm saying, because
Yeah.
I know me and Zona do, like all these conversations that I said I previously had was on them back when they were happening.
Yeah.
So, and she was younger than I am.
Yeah.
I was, well, just a year and a half,
yeah,
but
it's a year and a half.
that 1 year, it makes a difference because a 4-year-old's gonna notice more things than a 3-year-old will.
Yeah.
So, and a 3-year-old might be more in La La Land than a 4-year-old
Yeah.
is. So, but she kind of feels mostly the same way that I feel. Kind of like I expect nobody to show up. Well, I expect like if I have to depend on people outside of me,
Mm-hmm.
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's rough. That's rough, but you try to make it open. And then I think when how did dealing with a potential stepmother was for you guys?
Mm.
Just step people.